So today Miss Meri and I got to know each other a little bit more in a learning frame of mind. Up to this point I've kind of been a snuggle friend, also maybe someone who didn't always do the most fun things. Like I was involved in her groom, which included some nail clipping and some ear cleaning, which is not always the most comfortable scenario. Yeah, yep, good girl. So today I introduced a couple of communication tools for Miss Meri to help her understand what her options are in different situations and kind of help her understand when she makes good choices. And also gave her places to feel safe. So you'll notice that we have a blanket and we even have a little stuffed animal in here that she's kind of curious about and willing to interact with. I used these no matter where we were so that if she did get overwhelmed, she had a place that she could retreat to feel safe. And she did this pretty naturally. Pretty much as soon as I put this blanket on the floor and had her walk in, she would just beeline for it and put her butt on it and then look at me like, okay, this is the ground zero here. This is where I feel comfortable. This is where I want to start. So what I recommend at home is that I know you have several spaces where she feels comfortable and safe, and that's perfect. The more the better. But when you do need to travel with her, whether it's to come here to see us, or if she's going to go to the groomer, or if you just want to take her on an outing as she gets more comfortable and confident, I recommend having a to-go blanket or a to-go towel that that goes with her wherever she is headed, so that she knows and understands that is her safe space no matter what else is going on around her, because she has a lot of change ahead of her. She's adapting to her new house, she's adapting to the new routines, and when she comes to visit us here, those are a lot of changes as well. She's going to see new faces, new people, and all of those situations have been positive overall so far. But when she does get overwhelmed, it's very important for you to have a space that she knows she can retreat to, and that everyone else also recognizes is kind of her no-touchy zone or her safe zone, where she needs to go away and think about things. You see now she's starting to kind of investigate the space, and she's willing to even take some cookies for me now. Good girl, very nice. The other communication tool that I introduced is called a target. And this was very easy for me to teach her because she is so affection driven. Like you said, she loves getting pets. So what I did was I would just shuffle a little bit away from her mat, and then I'd hold out my hand. Yep, and if she touched my hand with her nose, I used what we call a marker. That's just a single syllable word that means what you just did is an awesome choice and you're going to get rewarded for it. And her reward at first was just some love, some snuggles, just very brief pets as a reward for choosing to move towards me, and interact with the hand that I was offering her. Now you'll see here that when I am on the ground next to her, she's not so interested in targeting my hand. She's more interested in just where my hands are and are they going to be petting her. So what you can do with this hand target is you can show her where you'd like her to go. If you want her to move onto one of her little blankets in the house, you can hold your hand target over the blanket, and that is an indication to her, hey, I should probably move on to that blanket if she isn't just making a beeline for it already. You can also use this target as a way to give Meri a safe, structured way to introduce herself to new people. So she has yet to show any overt fear or concerns about anybody that we've introduced her to yet. We have a lot of women here at the office, and so it can be difficult to judge how she's going to respond to children or men, people of different sizes and shapes. And this is a very safe way for her to tell you how comfortable and confident she is approaching people. All you have to do is say, hey, do you want to say hi to Meri? The answer is obviously yes, because she's adorable. And you can say, great, all I need you to do is hold out your hand. And if she wants to, she can approach it and touch it with her nose, and that's her saying hello to you. We practiced this with 3 different team members today, some of them familiar, some of them not. And her response across the board was to go approach the hand, give it a little sniff, a couple little licks, and then she would retreat back to her blanket or back to me and receive some more affection on those safe spaces, okay? So those are just very low stress ways for her to opt in to exploring and interacting with something new. The hand target is a very versatile tool. Another way that we used it today is to start building kind of loose leash placement. Now you might be able to see this. I'll pick this up here. I do not have her on leash right now, and I'm going to explain why in a little bit. Today I wanted to focus on getting her moving with me and getting her in the right location when she is moving with me. So all that looked like is I would start moving away from her, and if she chose to follow me, which she's not good enough because there's a lot happening outside right now. Yep, good girl. If she chose to follow me, I'm just showing her my hand target. I'm just showing her where I'd like her to end up. And ideally, I want her on my left. Baby girl, can we touch it? Yep, that was it. And now we're gonna go back to our blanket because that's where we feel safe. That's where we feel safe. Good girl. Yep, good job. Good job. So I'm going to try and demonstrate this one more time. I'm going to see if she can overcome her stress or her concern here and move with me a little bit. There we go. We got one more of these treats that she's really enjoying. So one more time, I'm just going to take a step away. Yep. Yep. Oh, we're so close. And she's a little concerned. She's sniffing around. That's okay. Can we touch my hand? No, she says there's so much to sniff. There's so much to sniff, Miss Laura. I'm going to go back to my safe space. I'm overwhelmed. So that's okay. That's all right. I'm not going to give you a treat, though, because we were working on something else. But the hand target can help show her where you'd like her to end up when you're moving together. Now, I recommend you practice this indoors. That's a good, nice tail wag. I love that. Practice this indoors where you know that she knows that she is safe and she's more willing and able to interact with you there. And you want to kind of aim for her safe spaces when you're doing this. So she has somewhere that she knows she can go to if she gets overwhelmed. What I did with her single blanket here is I would just take 1 or 2 steps away from the blanket, get her to touch my hand, and then we would immediately pivot back and make a beeline for her safe space. Yep, just like that, Smarty Pants. Good girl. Good job. And she would get pets for moving away from the blanket with me, and then we'd turn around and move together back to the blanket where she would get more pets. Yes, good girl. Very nice. Now I want to show you the difference. Since she's kind of come down a little bit from her initial fear, her tail is out from under her booty. She has a nice loose open mouth pant going right now. Those are all indications that she's feeling more comfortable and confident. So I want to show you what happens when I bring the leash into the equation here. So I'm going to grab it and I'm going to show it to her. She's moving towards it, which is nice. Oh, but now she's moved away from it. She's going to her safe space. I'm going to show her the clip here. That's good. And she's sniffing at it. That's good too. And then I'm going to put it on her. And the tail is no longer wagging. So the tail has stopped. And I'm going to pick it up. And I'm going to stand. No more nice open pant. No more tail wagging. She is squinting and kind of slow blinking. I'm going to take a step away and see what happens. She's willing to walk. That's good girl. And now we're getting a tail wag. That's good. And we're going to go back to our safe space. Very nice, ma'am. Good girl. So we did some work on leash today because, like I said, when you dropped her off, I wanted to see how she would feel about it after I didn't have it on her for a while. And I think what the issue is with this leash, because she's not outright scared of it. She didn't like shy away or skitter away from it when I put it on her. Even when I put it next to her, she wasn't scared, like you're trying to avoid it. She just wasn't thrilled. So I think what's going on with this leash is that it's just a little heavy. It's just a little heavy for her neck. So what I recommend is maybe looking into some sort of cord lead for her. It could still have a clip on it and it can clip to her collar, but just something that's a little lighter material that's not going to hang her head so low, because that might be causing a little bit of discomfort and make it difficult for her to walk easily with you when she's having to bring her head up and down and carry that additional weight along her neck. Just a thought. I'm going to include a link to some options for you if you want to take a look and see if there's any lighter options that you like for her. A couple of recommendations for home life in between now and our next visit. If she doesn't have stuffed animals at home, specifically like doggy shaped things, maybe invest in a couple of those. One thing that I've learned when I'm working with successful mother dogs, is that a lot of times it can be a bit of a shock for them to be taken away from litter mates or offspring or even just pack members that they are familiar with and interacted with. So creating a family of sorts with just 2 or 3 maybe stuffed animals. Some of them can be little baby size, some of them can be almost her size, like this little hedgehog. That can actually help her practice more natural dog behaviors at home that you might not be able to really replicate easily as a person. So she was curious about Mr. Hedgie here. She would sniff at him and kind of nosed him a little bit before settling in. And now she's exhausted. She says, Miss Laura, it's been a long day. And so you can set those up at her safe spaces just to encourage her to interact with them. Maybe she'll pick a favorite and kind of start carrying it around with her, or specifically head towards them to snuggle up. Another thing I recommend, you mentioned that she has a hard time kind of going to eat. So I would set up her meals when you set up your meals and mirror eating with her in the room where her food is. If you're free feeding her and she's not voluntarily going to eat routinely, I would remove that free feed as an option. And instead, just like you have specific meal times, make that her specific meal time too. So she knows, okay, I can expect to see this food when my people are eating their food. And when they feel safe enough to sit down and eat, perhaps she will also feel safe enough to sit down and eat. And if she doesn't, if you enjoy your meal and your conversation and you are wrapping up your dinner and she has not touched her food, pick it up, put it away, maybe for a half hour or an hour, and then see if she shows an interest in about an hour's time and give her another 15 or 20 minutes to think about it and decide if she's hungry, okay? She's still trying to find out how she fits into the routine at this point, but she's got a lot of confidence in her once she knows that the people around her are willing to go slow and understand her and give her options, okay? So in addition to maybe getting a lighter leash and getting some stuffed animals and adjusting her mealtime routine, practice moving with her and using your hand to show her where you'd like her to be inside. And when you are walking with her outside, set a very short destination goal. You don't have to try to make it around the block. You don't even have to try to make it all the way down the street. Aim for driveways. If you're in a neighborhood with townhomes or single family units, try to just go from driveway to driveway with her on one side of you or the other side of you. If she does start pinwheeling, just stop and wait for her to stop, because she will. She's just a little overwhelmed. She's trying to find that safe space, this blanket. So if she can't find that safe space, that's when she starts windmilling. And once she finally stops and takes a breath, you can mark and reward for that, give her some more affection, and then try to continue the walk a little bit, okay? Driveways are the goal, and we can work up to down the street or around the block as she gets more confident, okay? Let me know if you have any questions. The marker that I like to use is YEP, Y-E-P. If you have a word at home that you use more regularly for her, like good or yes or great, let me know, and I can very easily switch that into a circulation, because you're the one who's going to be saying it a lot more often than I am, so I'm the one that's going to need to be flexible with you there, okay? But I would pick one word, preferably a single syllabic word, and use that every single time you like something she does. That's just a very simple way to ease the communication gap between us as humans and them as dogs, okay? She is such a sweet girl, and she is so ready to come out of her shell and get to know you and trust you. It's just going to take a little bit of patience and some special tools to help her along the way. You did so good, honey. I'm